Peace, everyone. So today I wanted to share a little bit of about my experience with giving birth. I've actually had 3 different experiences, and I've had a lot of requests to share that with you guys. So here goes. So my first experience was at the hospital with my firstborn Mason, and that was a pretty traumatic experience. That made me never want to give birth or step foot in a hospital or medical facility ever again, honestly. It was very stressful, and I guess I'll just tell you a little bit of about how it went. So basically, my due date with Mason was, I think, August 22nd, and on August 26th, the doctors were just like, okay, we got to induce you, like, you got to get this baby out. Mind you, I had no complications. I had a really good pregnancy, was healthy and everything like that, but they felt the need to induce me for some reason. So I remember going in Friday afternoon or like evening around like 6 o'clock, I think, which would have been like the 23rd or 24th, and them telling me like, all right, you're going to stay and we're going to induce you. We're going to give you Pitocin. So they gave me Pitocin, which is like this crazy drug that makes you contract. And when I tell you, that is the worst thing ever. It is the worst. Like, I was in so much pain. I was in unbearable pain. And it was like rapid, but my water was my water wasn't breaking. So I was contracting, but my water was still intact. And then I remember there only being one anesthesiologist in the entire building for that weekend. So I'm waiting for my epidural. Mind you, this is my first child. I'm 19, 20, I think I might have been 20. And I'm just allowing other people to have control over my situation rather than me. I was young, my first child. So I wasn't really confident in myself to had to do this on my own. So I let everybody give their input and make decisions for me. So I did get an epidural, and it took forever. Like, I don't think I got an epidural until like Saturday night. This whole time I was contracting. I was on this drug, so I was in a very stressed mindset. And they would try to I'm waiting for the epidural the entire time, and they're telling me like, oh, they're coming, don't worry, you just gotta wait it out. So finally they came, and they're telling me like, oh, bend over, crouch over so we can put this needle on your back. And I'm having a hard time. First of all, I'm terrified of needles. Like, I do not like needles, not one bit. So I'm already tensing up because I'm afraid. And then everyone knows that epidural is like the worst thing you can get. Like, it hurts. So that's what's in my head. And then they're yelling at me. I got like the anesthesiologist and like 3 nurses telling me like, if you don't crouch over, we won't be able to get this epidural on your back. You're going to have a C-section. Like, you need to hurry up and just listen to what we're trying to tell you. So I'm stressed out. I'm crying. I'm like, yo, what is going on? Like, I'm just trying to have this baby, and you guys are yelling at me. Like, it was just a really bad experience. So yeah, I got the epidural, and I ended up giving birth on Sunday at 2:54 a.m. So I went in around Friday at 6 p.m., ate like something with no nutrients. I believe I ate like a plate of mashed potatoes or something, and then I ended up going to the hospital, and they did not allow me to eat. They didn't let me eat. They barely let me drink. They was only giving me like ice or something, and they were like, well, that's all. That's the only thing we can offer you. Like, you're not allowed to eat, because if you have to have a C-section, then we're not going to be able to give you the anesthesia to basically numb you or whatever. So yeah, so I ended up giving birth to Mason like with no energy. I was so exhausted. Like, I don't know, it was just a very bad situation. Like, they had to break my water for me, and it was just bad. Like, I would not recommend a hospital birth to anybody. I mean, yes, I would. If you're in a loving environment and you feel like that's where you want to have your child, then do that. But for me, my experience was so traumatic that I vowed to never give birth or ever step foot in a medical facility unless I absolutely need to. So that was my first birth. So my second birth, I didn't know what I was going to do, or we didn't know what we were going to do about giving birth, because we knew that the hospital was just like not an option. So being in Atlanta, I don't remember who even told me about it, but there was a midwifery in East Point, and I ended up going there like it must have just aligned with everything, because and that it was meant to be, because I really cannot remember how I even heard about these people. But I ended up going to a midwifery, and um and it was a beautiful space. It was full of melanated women, and they're all about giving birth in a beautiful space, and everybody was so welcoming and understanding. And the basically this facility allowed you to have a water birth in a medical facility, so in a birthing center. So it was still much better than giving birth in a hospital where you're in a bed. You know, you still are able to do that water birth, and that's what caught my attention. And actually, my partner was the one who even said, like, look, we're not going back to a hospital, so we're gonna have to find somewhere that is gonna be that, you know, that you're gonna be able to give birth in, but it just can't be a hospital. So find something. So I think that's what it was. I think I looked up midwives, and that was the first time I was introduced to midwifery, and then we went there. So we were going there for a little bit, and there was a rotation of midwives. So when you go there, you were meeting different midwives, and just in case whenever you gave birth, you would know each midwife. So it's not like you're giving birth with a stranger, like most women do. Like, they don't know who their doctor is gonna be when they go to give birth, you know. So I ended up meeting like this beautiful woman named Angelina, and she was actually transitioning out of the practice and going to do her own home birthing practice. And when I met her, I was like, man, this woman, that I resonate with her. Like, she's like really respectful. You know, I was telling people like, oh, I'm vegan and plant-based, and they're like, oh, how do you get your protein? Oh, you need to take extra supplements. You got to do this, you got to do that. And she was kind of like, how you feel? You feel good? And I'm like, yeah, I feel great. Like, I don't feel weak. I don't feel like I'm lacking any nutrients. And she was like, all right, so keep doing what you're doing. Keep eating your avocados. Keep eating, you know, bump up your protein. But she was very respectful of my choices, of our choices, and I appreciated that. So we ended up going with her, and we decided like we wanted her to be our midwife. So with her, you know, everyone wants to know like what the process is like with the midwife, and with her, we actually continued to go to the practice until about 36 weeks. And at that point, that's when she decided, because she was still doing kind of like part-time there. So we decided that, no, I'm sorry. At 36 weeks to 37 weeks, she decided that like I didn't have to go back anymore, that she would start doing the home visits. But not every midwife is like that. That was just that specific case, because she was transitioning. So she would do my house visits, which would be doing the same thing, like checking my vitals, doing me peeing in a cup, and then her checking to make sure that I was good, my blood pressure, measuring my belly, listening to the baby's heartbeat. And it was all new to me. I was very afraid. I was like, man, I'm about to give birth in a house, like in a pool in the middle of basically my room. Like, what, like, who does that? But she was very assuring that I could do this. And I could say that was one of the most beautiful experiences of my life. I would say, of course, having all three of my children was very beautiful. But just that first time giving birth at home was just amazing. Like, I was able to set up my birth space. Like, I had my incense and my candles and my lights and the music that I wanted. And it was me, it was myself, my partner, my midwife, our doula. I didn't have a doula, but it was her assistant, who was also happened to be a doula. She's also the bomb as well. I could share their information if you guys are in the Atlanta area and looking for a doula and a midwife at the end. But it was just a beautiful experience. Like, I didn't have all these people coming in and out checking me. Like, it was just like hands off. Whatever you want, we can do. The only thing I would say is that my water doesn't break on its own. I've come to find that out. So my midwife did have to break my water, and that's when my contractions started going. I don't remember how long I was in labor with Callie for, but all I know is that I didn't mind it. Like, it was painful, but it was just like I had control, so I was cool. I was just like, all right, you know, I'm in labor, let's do this. I'm ready. And it was nerve-wracking and kind of scary, but I feel like I did it, and it was great, and I had the support of other people. Now, with this third pregnancy, not many people know this, but like, it was very unexpected for us, and I kind of was in denial for a very, very long time. I didn't even find out I was pregnant till very late in my pregnancy. Like, I think I was I think by the time I found out, May, June, July, I might have been like 3 to 4 months, because I was still nursing Callie, and I still didn't have a normal period. So I didn't think that I was pregnant at all until I ended up taking a test, and I was like, oh, okay, I am pregnant. So I was going through some emotional things with myself at that point. So I just kind of, like I said, I was in denial. So I was like, yeah, I'm not going really to see a midwife or a doctor right now until, I'm ready. And I don't recommend that for anybody. Like, you have to, if you feel like you need to go to a doctor, I feel like, or I don't know, listen to your body. Don't just, this is my experience, and I'm not recommending anybody to not go to a doctor and not see nobody. Like, that's not what I'm trying to preach out here. I'm just sharing my experience. But I really didn't have much of prenatal care this time around, because I felt very comfortable. I'm like, this is my third time doing this. This is my third time being pregnant. I know myself. I know when I need to up my nutrients or change my diet, and I know myself. I know my body. So I was very comfortable with having limited prenatal care. I knew, like, okay, I gotta take my prenatals. So I kind of was still, whatever my experience with Callie, I took that with this experience. And I also, my midwife and I are very, I would say, are good. We have a great relationship. So I was still able to text her and be like, hey, like, this is what's going on. And she was telling me, like, look, if you want me to, help, be there, I can help you. Just let me know what you want to do. And I'm just telling her, like, look, I want to have a free birth. Like, I don't want to give, I want to challenge myself to do this myself. Like, I'm a woman. At the end of the day, like, I'm the one who's going to be pushing this baby out. So this is what I want to do. And she was, she didn't recommend it, but she respected my decision to do an unassisted free birth. I guess I can just fast forward to labor. I'm always, I can say this with my kids, I'm always overdue. So I gave birth with Saya at 41 weeks and like 6 days or 4 days or something. So I was already overdue. And my midwife did tell me, like, okay, look, if you go past 42 weeks, then, like, I want to kind of, like, step in. And I'm just like, no, it's cool. Like, I want him to come when he's ready. I really do believe that babies come when they're ready, and they're just rushed by society. And because I am healthy, I believe that's why my midwife was very respectful, and she did not try to talk me out of it, but she was just kept saying, like, you're about to be over 42 weeks, like, what you want to do. And another thing I can say I really appreciate about her is that she was like, okay, there's some things that you should want to know in any case that anything will go wrong. Like, don't be afraid to call 911 if you need to. And I was very open to it. Like, yeah, I don't like doctors in the medical world, but it's like, if I needed to call 911, then I would have, because that's just the safety of my child and the safety of myself. She was telling me it was important for me to know what signs to look for in baby and myself, and like knowing CPR just in case baby stops breathing. So there was like a few things that she gave me, like, pointers on to look at while, just if I was going to do this as, unassisted. So fast forward to the day of labor. I woke up, I remember I had to go pick up my partner from the airport, and it was like around 4 or something. I woke up in the morning and I felt like crampy, and I'm like, man, like, I feel like I'm having some contractions, but I don't know, like, I was so chill about it. I was like, whatever, I'm about to go to this airport and go pick him up and see what happens. So as I'm getting ready, I'm feeling like, okay, that's another one. That was another contraction. So I'm like kind of timing it. So I started timing it, and they were kind of like 4 or 5 minutes apart. So on my way to the airport, I'm still tracking my contractions, because I kind of felt like, okay, like when I was like halfway there, I was like, all right, this might be the day. Like, I might be actually giving birth today, because, these contractions are coming. Usually, sometimes, like with Callie, I would have contractions, or Braxton Hicks, and I remember, like, I have 41 weeks with Callie, I had Braxton Hicks, and I thought I was in full-blown labor, and I wasn't. I didn't give birth till, like, a few days later. So I was just like, it's probably nothing. But then after a little bit, and how consistent they were, I was like, all right, this might be it. So I ended up picking him up, coming back to the house, and I was like, you know what, let me just go back to sleep. And I couldn't go back to sleep. Like, the contractions kept coming. They weren't so painful. It was it was a kind of, for me, I feel like contractions are annoying. Like, it's like a pain that does not go away. So I laid down, couldn't go to sleep. Then they started getting stronger. So I text my midwife, and I'm gonna keep, although she was not there to help me give birth, she's there as a supporter, as a friend. So I did talk to her and tell her, like, look, like, I'm kind of in pain and it's coming. Like, these are the time. This is how frequent they're coming. Like, what you think? And she like, yeah, I think I think you about to go into labor. So I remember hopping in the bathtub, trying to like soothe myself, like getting in the hot water, because I did have a pool, but it took but I wasn't ready to blow it up yet. I didn't think I needed to blow it up yet. Like, I felt like I was so nonchalant. Like, I'm like, oh man, I still gotta get ready for birth. Like, I planned on making like perinatal, postpartum pads, and I was, I planned on doing all this stuff that Tuesday morning, and Saya was like, nah, I'm coming today. Like, you're not doing any of that. You about to get ready for labor. So I, like I said, I hopped in the pool, in the tub. I was sitting in there for a little bit, and then around 7 o'clock, I called her and I'm like, look, like, these are getting intense. And she was like, okay, I hear it in your voice. Like, I think you should start setting up your pool. Like, it's about to be, like, the baby's about to come really soon. So I'm like, all right. So, and that time I was, like, contracting really bad, and I thought I had to use the bathroom. So I'm, like, sitting on the toilet this whole time, like, man, I have to use the bathroom. But, like, things were coming out. I feel like I was definitely releasing before labor. But, I mean, before my birth. Like, my body was taking out everything that I guess no longer served me. Then we started blowing up the pool. So we blowed up the pool. So we blow up the pool, and the funny thing was that our hose did not fit the faucet this time. So I ended up having to fill our pool with some like water jugs, like the big blue 5-gallon ones. So we're filling those up, running back and forth to the bathroom. I'm like, hurry up. Like, I feel like I have to push. So then I'm having contractions for a little bit longer, and I think around like 9 o'clock, 9:10, I was like, all right, like, I feel like I gotta push right now. So I got in the pool and I just started pushing with every contraction. And mind you, like, everyone else is just doing their thing and I'm just in my zone. Like, I have my music playing, I have my Palo Santo going, and those things really did help me. Like, the music, I was listening to like a meditative like these chants, and I feel like honestly, like, that helped me get to where I needed to be in order to have that baby. And I was like, man, like, I feel like I needed my partner to help me. But, he was like, look, you told me that you wanted to do an unassisted birth with nobody's help. So, like, I'm going to stay over here. And at the moment, I was just like, man, like, get your butt over here. But I still, in the back of my head, I said, nah, like, I need to do this for me. Like, this is what I want to do. I was born to do this. Like, nobody else can push this baby out but me, no matter what he's telling me, no matter if he's with me in the pool or not. Like, there's nobody else who can do this, So I ended up pushing for a little bit. And I remember with Callie, I kind of resisted. I was resisting that pushing. I was like, oh no, like, I'm scared. Like, I don't want to keep going. But with this, I remember with Saya, I remember, like, just in my head, say, you know what, like, and I remember also looking around at whoever was in my room, which was like my mom, or my midwife, who like I said, she was there to support. She was very hands off, didn't talk, didn't touch, didn't talk. She didn't do anything. Like, she was really like, I'm here as a friend. Like, I'm not your midwife, and you don't need me, so I'm here in the cut. So she was back there doing her thing, and I'm looking at her like, are you gonna come help me? And she looking at me like, I'm not gonna help you because this is what you wanted to do. And I remember looking at her. And I said, you know what, I did this before, and all I got to do is really just push, and he'll be out. And I remember just putting my hands out and just releasing, like, literally just screaming and letting it all out. And I can honestly say that pushing Saya out did not even hurt. It hurt. It was discomforting, but it didn't hurt like it hurt like Callie, like that ring of fire that women experience when they're about, the baby's head is right there. Like, I felt his head there, and I said, I'm about to push this kid out right now. And I did, and I released, and I let him out. And I feel like it was the quickest labor that I've ever been in. It was the quickest. It was the easiest labor, the easiest birth. Like, I was in labor, I would say from 4:30 in the morning until, I guess I gave birth at 9:30. So I've really pushed for 15 minutes and he was right out. So I definitely can say, like, the whole mental thing, mind over matter, like, you got to put yourself, you have to have that mental, like, be strong in the mind and know what it is that you want to do, like. And I feel like I did that shit honestly, and it was a beautiful experience, and I was so surprised. I was like, yo, this did not hurt like Callie's. Like, it was such a simple, quick thing, and I was so nervous about giving birth by myself. Like, I was thinking about all these things, but the free birth concept was so present around me in the months leading up to my labor. So I was just like, no, this is something that I really wanted to do, and I did it, and I feel like any woman could do it. And it's not the free birth. I feel like the free birthing and the unassisted birthing, not everyone can do. I know our ancestors did, but the whole home birth, water birth, I would suggest any and every woman to explore that option. If you are healthy enough to do that, if you're not, get healthy enough to do that, change your diet, incorporate more physical activity, get outside. It's such an empowering experience as a woman to be able to just push your child out in the comfort of your own home, or the comfort of the environment that you choose. No man or no doctor or no one should be able to tell you what you need in order to give birth and how to give birth, because you were born for this. So I definitely recommend home birth, water birth, having a doula. I would say my doula has always been my partner, because I just feel like he knows me the best, and he's seen me at my worst and at my best. So it's like I don't really feel like anybody externally could really help me with that. But that's different. A lot of other women feel like another woman should be that person for them, and I agree, because I am actually trying to begin my journey as a doula as well. And I feel like being that I have experienced so much and so many different types of, or 3 different types of births, it's like, yeah, I feel like I'm definitely able to give that support to other women. But yeah, I feel like any woman could do this. And if there's any other questions that anybody may have, feel free to comment below or contact me on Instagram. You can DM me at plantbased_K. Or you can write me at Gmail. So my Gmail is plantbasedmamak@gmail.com. I can put all that on the bottom on the description. But yeah, like, this is very empowering. Like, I see a lot of women starting to do these home births and water births, especially even after having hospital births. And it's like, yeah, we're supposed to do this, and this is how kids are supposed to be introduced into the world. Not having any of these traumatic experiences when they're just being yanked away from their parents and being poked and dangled upside down. Like, no, I feel like I can see a difference in my 2 children who were born at home. Very calm, very, like, observant, whereas Mason has high energy, and that's totally fine. That's just his being. But I can see that the birth definitely played a part in their in their transition to the world. So yeah, I'm grateful that I was able to share this story with you guys, and I'm grateful that you guys are even asking me about my experiences, and I'm glad that I'm able to influence and give people, especially young melanated women, that hope that you can do this. Like, people also are asking me real quick about prices. Prices vary for midwives, like, depending on your location. I know up north some people are paying $5,000 for a midwife. Down here in Atlanta, I know it could be anywhere from $2,800 to $5,000 or $4,000. It just depends on where you are, and it depends on what you need, if you are high risk or you're low risk or whatever. But you just have to inquire with the midwives. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment below, and I will definitely get back to you. Have a great day.